I take the next step, I'm going to make it count.
They get first dibs on what's going on. My assignment is shifting, I guess you can say. Now he's shifting where I'm pouring. My pour is going to be more intentional in this season and moving forward. Another reason why it was so vital and so crucial for you to not doubt what God had been speaking to you and doubting the process and being in a place of frustration and being in that place of, Lord, you keep saying this, but I haven't seen anything, and where your heart becomes hardened. When your heart is hardened and then the Lord does show up with provision, when he does show up, thank you, Holy Spirit, with clarity, when he does show up with more instructions, when he does show up with more steps of the game plan, your heart is too hard, like you're in a bitter state and you can't receive it. Missing some of the downloads. You're missing how God is shifting. You're missing how he's moving. You're missing what's up next. Your marriage stand was not always going to be a stand. You weren't always going to be waiting. The enemy, he wanted nothing more than for you to give up, you to throw in a towel, you to walk away, you to walk away, you to quit, you to not see full manifestation of the very thing that the Lord had promised you. As long as you stayed in that bitter posture or that posture of doubt, that posture of fear, that posture of, I'm always going to be here, it's never going to happen, you're missing what God is trying to show you. Now you're in a state of, well, I don't see God, I don't hear God, I don't feel God, I don't know what's going on right now. Some of that is because your heart has become hardened and you weren't able to get the revelation coming. Not saying that you missed the assignment, not saying that you're missing a move of God, but it was never just about your marriage. God was using the marriage promise or the marriage stand for marriage restoration. He was using that to get you to purpose. He was using that to build you to the man of God or the woman of God that he has always ordained and called and created you to be. So some of you are stepping into purpose. You're stepping into your Esther moments, who you were created to be. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm hearing Joseph. Many of you, the dreams that the Lord has given you, the coat of many colors, like those dreams are beginning to manifest. Remember I said restoration comes in stages and levels. It's not just, and I'm speaking about marriage restoration, it's not just you and your spouse coming back. Like there's still work to be done. You had in your mind that God is going to restore it before he uses me. God is going to bring them home before I start walking into what my kingdom assignments are. That's not how God is doing it for everyone. He's expecting you to get ready to start walking into what he's calling you into without your spouse yet. Many of you are in restoration, but not the part of reconciliation with your spouse yet. You're in restoration to your promise. You're in restoration to all the things in your character, of who you are that the enemy tried to strip from you, that God even did some stripping and some purging and some pruning. Some of you, your joy is getting ready to be restored. Your hope is getting ready to be restored. Your purpose is getting ready to be restored. More parts of your promise. You don't just have, God isn't just, he's a promise-keeping God, but he isn't a one-trick kind of pony. He doesn't just promise you one thing and then that's all you have to look forward to. Getting ready to receive restoration for just the things that I'm even hearing your childhood, things that were stripped from you in your childhood. Don't be so focused on just that man coming home or just that woman coming home or just meeting your spouse or God just opening the doors of communication, because you're still falling into idolatry because you're so focused on your marriage. Your marriage is a part of your promise. It's a part of your ministry. It's a part of your purpose, but it isn't all that God has created you to be. I remember being in that place like, okay, without my husband, who am I? Without my marriage, what else am I going to do? Not saying I wasn't still successful, but it took so much from me. But the Lord allowed all of that because even in restoration, he saw fit to give that stuff back too. Let me give you your purpose back. Let me give you your heart back, your joy back, your peace back, your laughter back. For some of you, your laughter has been gone for years. When he starts speaking, this is your year. This is your year of restoration. Don't just grab that word and only apply it to your marriage. That is going to come to pass if that's what God has promised you. But he's a God of more than, more than enough. When God restores it, then what? What's your purpose? Who are you, sis? Who are you, bro? Like, what is your purpose? What is your assignment? What have you been called to do? What plans does God have for you? How is he using you? How are you advancing his kingdom? These are all things you should have been knowing or beginning to know while you're in your stand and your wait. Without your husband, who are you? Without your wife, who are you? This is what I'm saying about when God restores. Let him restore in the way he sees fit, in the areas he sees fit, not just marriage. God is bigger than just your marriage promise.
Okay. We'll break this down to molecules. There is one Holy Spirit. It says, it's about that time. This one says, you were in a spiritual coma. They didn't expect you to recover. It's your season now. Both spirit-led prophets, both part of my kingdom. All right? Now, what I've been feeling in the spirit, because I'll be the authority on this. Many of you aren't receiving that resonating, I know this is from God. That means something is blocking you. All right? Many of you, well, confusion, we confirm that. But you're not understanding the lesson in the test that some of you passed about 3 months ago, in the restoration of what the prodigal is supposed to be a part of and facilitating. Depending on your status in the kingdom of heaven right now and how you are viewed in heaven, that is important, okay? When you step off the narrow path, and I always taught my people that once you get your confirmation, you move. Once you have done what I've told you to do, I'll tell you more. So many of you that are walking in your purpose already, you're waiting for that purpose to be complemented by your spouse. That is what you prayed for your spouse to be molded in my image, and so that you guys are able to work together. Now, we've spent the last 3 weeks praying about how do we break this cycle. The man is going to be the head of the household. I recall Christian women in churches saying, I want a man that loves God more than me. I want him to be able to lead me. Men were praying, I want a godly woman that loves God. Bring it together. And we have evidence, all of these videos, that marriages are being destroyed. It says Gospel of Jesus' Wife. I watched my own marriage get cinder blocked and lit on fire and burnt to ashes. So, what I'm telling you right now, if I have my spirit and my daughter, I want my spirit entwined with me near my son, who also has my spirit. As I have ordained you to be together for this purpose. That is going to get rid of your confusion. That's going to be your light. We already strategized this out for you. So each day you are learning how to remain in me and receive your hope for the day, your joy for the day, your peace for the day. And there's a purpose for that. Your marriage is supposed to be set apart. It's supposed to be something that is not like the world and not like the traditional Christian teachings. It is supposed to make you happy, fulfilled, satisfied in every way. When you deviate from God's plan, you're going to leave yourself at risk of either being deceived, and both of you should have some type of spiritual eyes. This is not the blind leading the blind. You have to see it as the remnant. What we have right now, what we are working with. Perfect.